everyone. This is David Ellis, and I'm here with Dr. Amir Jahangiri. And today we are going to be doing a review of the crazy shit that happens. So we're going to be reviewing the world that we're living in, how the world is becoming increasingly mandatory. We're going to be reviewing the craziness that still exists in 2022. It's so weird. We're going to be giving you guys some advice in terms of how to deal with crazy in your lives. And hopefully this show will be of use to you. I'm going to turn this over to Amir. Amir, you can come in.
Thank you, David. Ladies and gentlemen, my warmest greetings. Thank you for being here with us. We sincerely appreciate your time and your valuable contribution. It's serving you that gives us strength. So thank you so much. So we chose the topic of crazy because, as you've probably seen in your daily life, there's pretty much a lot of that cray going on in every walk of life. And it's becoming a problem because these people believe hard in the craziness, and it's almost impossible to avoid. So how can we deal with it? What are some useful strategies? How to identify the cray before it takes over your life? And so, yes, David, let's just dive into it.
Okay. So today we are going to be dealing with the mandatory nature of our world. There are going to be some key phrases that I can't say. You see, we're going to start with that. There are going to be some key phrases which I can't say on Facebook or YouTube because the ignorance of these social media entities has become way exceedingly, like they're overstepping on a whole different level. And so I'm going to be describing the situation, and then we will be hopefully hoping that you guys actually get what we're trying to say. All right, so let's deal with the mandatory nature of our world. You remember there was a time prior to 2019 when we could just be, really, where people didn't hate each other based on a certain decision that they made. You remember that time? You remember that you could go to your neighbor, you could go to your family and friends and so on. You guys remember that, right? I wouldn't say that it was a spiritually better time, but it was a lot more relaxed and a lot less tense than it is right now. I read an article this morning where a very famous tennis player decided that he wasn't going to make a certain decision about his health, and he was stopped from playing in this tennis match. Okay, all right. Here is my opinion on this, because people like to ask us, where do we stand on a whole bunch of things? Okay, let me tell you where we stand. We don't care. Let me explain to you why we don't care. We don't care because I'm too busy trying to escape the cycle of birth and death. Okay? To be caring about who did what to whom. People ask us, where do you stand on the concept of pronouns? Where do you stand on the concept of race and politics and so on? Are you more to the left? Are you more to the right? And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. And it's a pathological apathy, really. It's coming from deep down inside. I don't care. Because any side of an argument usually is fraught with like a bunch of bias. And I don't have the time for that. I'm trying to escape the cycle of birth and death. I really am. Amir, how do you feel about this?
Well, the same way I feel about this monumental argument that did Archimedes wear briefs or boxers? And you see, there are lots of people that are of the firm belief that Archimedes always wore briefs. And then there are the others that are on the opinion that, well, oh no, they were boxers, man. And then there's that minority that said, no, it's neither. He wore a loincloth. And I'm also of the opinion that, yeah, I really don't care.
And all we have to, yeah, and all I'm wondering is like, why do you care how this man protected his private parts in a century that doesn't belong to you? Look, listen, Look, there's a whole bunch of crazy going around. I wonder how people have the amount of time that they have to be arguing over the things that they're arguing. Okay, so I suppose we should check the elephant in the room on the thing that happened in the last 2 to 3 years. That global thing that happened. Okay, I don't care what side of the argument that you are on this. One thing I do care about is that you treat people with respect. I don't care what side of the argument you're on. You could be pro or you could be anti. You know what I'm talking about. How about treating people with respect? Because it doesn't matter whether they're pro or anti or they're that special status or not special status. It does not matter. They're still people and you owe them. You're obligated to give human beings respect. Okay. Now I say obligated and I use that word very strongly because you would like respect yourself and you should give respect if you want that respect yourself. If you don't want respect yourself, have at it. Okay. So where that is concerned, I know for myself, I have never treated anybody who's pro or anti with anything but respect. I'm not going to shun them. I'm not going to tell them you can't come to my house. I'm not going to want to fight them in the streets, any of that crap. Like, seriously, people, do you not have something better to do? Like, I don't know, work on yourselves or something. Amir, please help me understand. Why do people take this stuff on?
Well, it's a basic, excuse me, basic nature of humanity that's being exploited here. So if you divide, you can conquer. So sowing division and separation among groups of people that previously were united to a great degree. So it's really a mechanism of control. If you look at the whole thing in all its entirety, you see the effect that it has had on people, and it hasn't been a positive effect. You divide people into two groups, this side and that side, and then they start fighting each other, wasting their valuable energy, their mental capacity, their life force. It becomes like friction. It's a waste of energy if the objective is to move forward, adding friction to the movement. So you're keeping people stagnant. And through that energy they lose, they become less capable of truly observing the reality of what is happening. So it is not a good thing whatsoever. The best is, as David suggests, just treat everybody respectfully. Don't get drawn into these meaningless quarrels. And they're really meaningless at the end of the day, because what you do affects you.
You want to know what
somebody else, you know, whatever they want to do, as long as it doesn't harm you, you should live and let live, you see.
Yeah, people who are involved in self-improvement, people from the spiritual community, they had those little rings around their profile pictures and so on. And I'm like, but why? Why are you choosing sides in this? Why are you not looking for the unity? So another thing that's happening is that the US midterm elections, I believe, are coming up and so on, or they're in full swing. I have no idea because I don't care. This is going to be repeated a lot during this. And so people are on the left side of the spectrum or people are on the right side of the spectrum. And I have this epiphany that neither side of the spectrum will do you any good. You're going to be as miserable as you were on the left and the right. There is no less misery. Let me tell you something about politicians, okay? People are drawn to politics because they would like to change things. A lot of them are. I'm not saying that there are no decent and honest politicians in the world, but yeah, they're in the far minority. So it becomes a choice as to which one is the least worst one. And so you choose based on that. And what I'm saying to you is, if you become emotionally involved in who's the least worst one, then you're setting your own standards and your own bar very, very low. I understand that you have to vote. It's part of what you have to do. But why are you getting invested and all connected with this stuff? Help me out. Help me out. Why?
You know, David, but many people actually know a certain level of truth about politics nowadays, that politicians are not decision makers any longer, that the major decisions are made by the true controllers of the system of domination and control, which are massive corporations. So let's look at, for example, arms manufacturers. Well, they've got to keep the industry rolling, but their business is death. So they need war, perpetual war. So therefore, they're so powerful and wealthy and influential, they make sure that there is perpetual war. Now, it doesn't matter who's the face of the body of government. They get their way. Now, knowing this, does it really make any difference if you vote left or right? No. So you're basically wasting your energy while war may visit your hometown randomly at any time. Look at the world we're living in. Nowhere is immune any longer.
Correct.
And so considering that it makes no difference, you shouldn't invest your energy in something that is so illusory. It's really a waste of energy. So considering it is what it is, like the weather, voting left or right will not change the weather.
Yes.
So why fight about it? Use your energy to improve yourself. Even better, just sleep. Sleep peacefully. That'll do you much better than getting involved in any kind of quarrel, left or right, this or that, anti this, pro that. It's all illusory and it's designed to extract your energy.
Yeah, and what amazes me is the intensity of emotion that these things evoke. I want to take a little strip here off to the cancel culture crowd and woke crowd. Let me tell you something so that we're both clear. In a society where you're afraid to state exactly how you feel, let me tell you, it's not a society that you want to live in. It isn't. I can't imagine that kind of society. I believe where I was living before, a lot of that stuff had crept in. People were afraid to just speak their minds, and that is not a good thing. And so I moved to a place where people don't care. Once again, when I say don't care, I don't mean like I don't care about whether you live or die. I mean, I don't care about the dogma that you have. I don't care about whatever issues that you have. I don't care about your ism or your schism, and I don't care about your war. I don't care. I want to live my life toxic-free, okay? When toxicity comes to my door, I will absolutely deal with it with a spiritual middle finger. And part of the toxicity is the concept of canceling people or being woke. Yeah, I'll tell you why it's toxic. I've already said this before. It comes with a spirit of vengeance, of spite. I don't care what somebody said 10 years ago. I have too many things on my mind, the nature of reality, whether Archimedes wore boxes or briefs. These are the things that I ponder, okay? The last thing on my mind is what some celebrity said a few years ago. Why do I have to care? I don't even care about celebrities, right? So that's the first thing, right? Why do I have to care? You have too many things on your mind. The people that are promoting this stuff, a lot of the times, canceling people and so on, a lot of them don't have jobs or they don't have businesses. And it comes with the element of jealousy and spite and hatred. And if you are listening to this broadcast, I want you to really, really think about that. Because a lot of these people who are promoting this kind of action, they're promoting it specifically because they have the issue. Don't make their issue your issue. That's their issue. All right? And so I really want to get into that whole mindset of cancel culture and so on. It's a bunch of crap. It needs to go away because people build their businesses and so on. They may make mistakes like the people who are woke and all canceling. And what they're saying is that if you're a public figure or whatever the case may be, you can't make any mistakes, right? Nonsense.
Absolutely right. So this whole culture of canceling people, it is weak at its core. There's a certain level of weakness and fragility that you would rather eliminate them than to argue logically your point.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know your point is false, you're afraid of that fallacy being revealed, and therefore it's easier just to eliminate the opposition.
Correct.
By canceling them, right? And you see this in many forums where this cancellation takes the form of physical elimination, assassination, murder, yes, getting rid of the opponent. So that's the sign of a totalitarian system where no logical discourse about the dogma is acceptable. You do as the system says, or they'll disappear you one way or another.
Yes.
So now we've got the cancel culture where people are eliminated from social media. But in spirit, that is the same as, let's say, the Soviet Union under Stalin, where people were exiled to the Gulag, never to be seen again. It's the same thing. Or older cultures where non-believers were beheaded, right? It's exactly the same spirit. It's the sign of totalitarianism, lack of tolerance, dare I say dictatorship. And it's a very present threat. You know, there's a famous quote, I may not agree with what you say, but I'll give my life to allow you to speak your truth, or something along those lines, right? What happened to that? So all this cancel culture, wokeism, all this stuff is coming from a place of deep insecurity. And that insecurity then has to be supported by violence. And it is violent. It is hateful. So if you're on the path of improving yourself, on the path of spirituality, you need to avoid this downfall that has infected our culture. We're not blaming any particular group of people. We're looking at humanity as a whole. This kind of problem has existed with our species throughout time. And if we don't take steps to control it, it will destroy our life. It will lead down dark places. And as in concentration camps, you know, whenever you see this kind of action raising its ugly face once again, the only thing you need to do is go watch some videos, which you can find on YouTube, by the way, of what humans did to their fellow mankind in concentration camps. Bodies stacked up together. Why? Because they did not believe in my dogma. That's where this path leads. That's where hatred leads. That's where this totalitarian ends up. The totalitarian mindset always ends up. So it must be avoided.
Amir, this is what's insidious about cancel culture, because they claim to want to push back the hatred, but they're using hatred to do it. And that's what concerned me, because that kind of nonsense is a cancer in society. And as you rightly pointed out, it keeps creeping back up. So you got this cancel culture and so on. And I'm like, isn't that just another side? That's just another side. Okay. Let me explain something to you. This is why I love shamanism. It encourages people to get back to nature and observe nature in such a way that you understand where you're off the train tracks. As an example, we got dogs around the neighborhood. I never seen a feminist dog in my life. All right. I haven't seen, like, we got dogs with patches of brown and stuff like that. And We got dogs, we got black dogs, we got dogs that are completely white, we got poodles that are hairy. I don't see any discrimination going on there at all, right? When I observe nature, I don't see like discrimination in the grass, like lemongrass is not mixing with that wheat grass for no reason, right? Grass is grass. Come on. Wow. We are the only species on the planet that have adopted this level of stupid and crazy to the degree that we're doing that. You guys need to get back to nature. Shout out to Laura Massey for promoting shamanism, because if people looked at nature the way we look at nature, then there would be a lot less of the talking, a lot more of the listening, the hugging, the being, right? Which reminds me, since we're on the topic of crazy, let's talk about the religious nuts. Now, the religion is... Amir and I are doing a new series. The new series is we're putting all of the gods on trial. We're holding them to the same standards that they hold us. And so we're putting them on trial, and we filmed it, and we're filming it. We're even filming it today. And we're going to put it out there. There's a certain section of crazies, religious crazies, we're concerned about, because you can't say anything against anybody's God, right? You can't make a joke, okay? You can't make a joke because somebody wants to kill you. Let me explain something to you. How there's nothing that I can say that will express how stupid this is. There's nothing that I can say. Somebody wants to kill you because you don't agree with their religion or their dogma. I mean, I sometimes wonder about these kinds of people. What, you said something against my God or whatever else, I want to kill you. And we're not just talking about a particular religion. There are a couple of them that are like that. So you say something against a particular God or whatever else. And you know what? We're a UCM. And one of the things is that we think a lot, right? And so we found ways to stop the cancel culture by creating our own servers and putting our servers all over the world, number one. So if it's banned in one country, another server will kick in. So cancel away, we don't care. That's number one. The second thing is I have devoted myself to technomancy, and Amir there, right, this man knows AI. So you know what we did? We're going to have password protected areas where only non-crazy people can enter. And yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do that because people are going to be allowed to speak the way they want to speak. If they're on this network, you can say whatever you want. I may not agree with you, but and this is the way we found around it. And I encourage every esoteric person, every spiritual person, every meditator, every healer listening to this broadcast to do one of two things. Understand the technomancy that is being used to divide you guys, and master technomancy. This is the new magic in this era, okay? And I'm talking to these people at like Facebook and YouTube and so on. The technomancy is how they divide you. And if you don't master the technomancy, you are going to be isolated and marginalized. And if you can't do that, reach out to us and we'll help you. Straight. So let's talk about the religious nuts. Amir, how do you feel about religious nuts?
A certain degree of anxiety, actually. Yeah. Because you see certain dogmas produce crazy that is deadly, crazy that needs to be institutionalized and rehabilitated, right? They need to be reformed. Certain types of thinking need to be broken up and washed away until they gain their health again. So unfortunately, certain types of beliefs mess with the normal operation of humanity, where the norm is compassion, where the norm is tolerance,
Mhm.
live and let live, and so on, then it turns it up on its head, and it turns people into murderers, turns them into people who will torture, who will behead, who will crucify. I mean, we've seen this in our own lifetime, right? And this is the way this ideology, this type of ideology preserves itself through extreme violence. And it's not limited to one or two or three. This has been a plague upon humanity for a very long time. So, of course, self-preservation is the law. One must be very cautious when dealing with crazy people. It's not about the ideology. It's about you take a crazy person the wrong way and suddenly they want to kill you. It's not just an impulse either. They'll wait to kill you, as in patiently biding their time to find an opportunity to kill you. What kind of madness is this?
That would be religion. That
Yep.
would be very much religion.
Yes.
And what ticks me off is that the religion itself is against murder. You cannot, it's against murder and supposed to be promoting mercy and love for your fellow man. But wait, if you're not part of the religion, you don't qualify, so we're killing you. Why do these people exist? I have a problem with this. And this is not to one religion. This is all, a lot of the religions on earth have some level of crazy people in them. But what kills me is in 2022, there are still those crazy people in there.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you where you become homicidal just because somebody doesn't agree with you?
And you know, David, it can also be sort of applied to the religion of the body politic.
Correct.
We have totalitarian systems spread across the globe, and as long as a certain charismatic leader is alive, somebody that has said something against the liking of the leader, they're in danger as long as they live. I mean, now we can talk about some of those people who are dead and gone. Let's say Gaddafi in Libya. I mean, he was known to hunt down his opposition anywhere on the globe, right? And he had a mechanism of threatening free societies, so they did nothing about it. So we see the same kind of thing. It's, you know, it's a weakness in humanity where things get really out of control, batshit crazy, excuse my French, where we see this kind of thing. So it's not just pure religious dogma. It can infect political systems. It can be in something that infects social systems, like this whole damn woke culture, which makes zero sense. It's crazy making. Come on, seriously, think about the first time you hear what these guys are actually promoting. In all these cases, it's some nonsense that they're trying to protect through violence. That you either agree, go along with my crazy shit, again, excuse my French, or I'm going to cut your head off. Well, self-preservation being the law, sometimes people have no choice. Seriously, they're not stupid people that go along with it. They're people that have no other option. To protect themselves, their family, their loved ones, they have to bow down. And that's how the virus perpetuates.
Here's the thing. When you speak to people who are on that spectrum of canceling this and canceling that, they say, well, we're not promoting violence and stuff like that. Let me explain something to you. If you are promoting the destruction of somebody's business, killing a man's business that he uses to protect and feed his family is akin to killing that man. It is. So stop the pretense. Guys, if you're listening to this and somebody tries to get you on some bandwagon to cancel this person or cancel that person, do not agree to go along with it. What happened to the golden rule? The golden rule states that do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I'm going to quote the Bible here again. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. If you are perfect and blameless, and you've been born under an auspicious star, and God has given you special dispensation, right? That you are the perfected being, then by all means, stone away. If you are not that guy, don't be taking up arms against anybody. Stop canceling people. But I want to talk a little bit about this mandatory nature of the world that we live in. So I remember when that thing happened, the last 2 or 3 years that we're talking about, that thing that happened, that I can't say on social media for fear that social media will put a strike inside my video. You remember that thing that happened where everybody was all up in arms? It's over now. Why are we still arguing about it? Why? Why you took it personally? Why are we still arguing about it? It's over now for the most part. Well, it's not over, right? People are still, having issues with that thing that we can't mention. But why are we still fighting and arguing about it? Why are you still on this bandwagon? Get off the bandwagon. Come back to reality, where it doesn't matter whether the dog has a patch or whether the dog is hairy or whether the dog is a feminist dog or whatever the case may be. Come back to reality. This divide that we have, so many divides. We got the man-woman divide. We got the racial divide. We got the cultural divide. We got the religious divide. You're going to add to that? Seriously, toxicity is running rampant in the world. And all I have to say to you guys is, if you're listening to this broadcast, just divorce yourself from it. Come back to reality. Really, because that is not reality. That's a bunch of crap.
I completely agree, David. The reason these kinds of quarrels continue long after the event is these are viruses of the mind. Quite literally, they are sicknesses of the mind.
Correct.
Intentionally implanted into the population. And of course, there are those that are more susceptible to these harmful ideas that result in tension, anger, violence, agitation, the whole spectrum of negativity. Some are able to not be infected, they are immune. Some are infected and quickly recover. And some remain afflicted for a very long time. Well, the whole nature of this is illusory. So nobody's denying the fact that this event took place. Okay? But there's no need to continue fighting other people among whether they believe in this or believe in that. Okay? When the problem hits you, you deal with it logically the best way you can, and more power to you. Do whatever you need to do to protect yourself, to be healthy, to be productive, to be strong. And that's what people do. Whenever something unpleasant happens, they do the best with what they have. Now, that is a logical approach, right? We do what we can. Nobody will judge you for that. Nobody has the right to. But then judging somebody else regarding the way they choose to deal with a certain problem, an obstacle, that's not fair. That's none of one's business. Mm-hmm. One must allow others to do what they think is right. As long as they're not harming you, you must respect their path. You see, so we come full cycle once again with this culture of cancellation, with dictatorships, with totalitarian systems, all these short-minded systems that can only exist through violence, through subjugation of others. We see the same thing. If you live and let live, let's just focus on the most important person in your reality, which is you. You
Yes.
will live better. So be a little selfish. Think about your own well-being and your own highest good. Getting involved in these illusory concepts is not beneficial for you. Sometimes you are forced into it. That is another matter. Okay, it's understandable. Nobody can judge you for that. You're doing what you have to survive and protect your loved ones. We accept that scenario. But if nobody has a gun to your head, so to speak, why would you volunteer to get involved in such a thing? It's all designed to drain you of your energy. It's done intentionally for that purpose. Energy that you could spend on improving yourself and your loved ones and humanity as a whole and all that is. So please be careful. I think the best thing to do about these kinds of infections of the mind, don't get infected. Don't get drawn into it. The first time you hear it, recognize the crazy. Recognize the cray that's trying to penetrate your being in all levels. Because once that agitation and anger sets in, it's going to have a bad effect on your health. It'll prevent you from sleeping. You see, these are all connected. So safeguard yourself. Don't give in to the cray. Don't become another zombie.
You know, I want to take a little segue here and deal with the idea of the drivers of all this craziness. Let's start with the media. And when I say media, I mean legacy media and social media. It used to be that when you watch the news, you got the what, where, when, why, and how. Not anymore. Not anymore. You got a bunch of people on the news telling people of decidedly less intelligence than them how to act and how to behave. If you are listening to this broadcast, I would highly suggest that you take stock of what part of your anger towards a particular group is coming from you and what part of your anger towards a particular group is coming from social media and legacy media. Because if you really wanted peace in your life, you wouldn't be taking on other people's crap and belief systems. You really wouldn't. Okay? Now, social media is notorious. It's murky waters out here. They are horrible. And what we're saying to you guys, if you are on the spiritual path and so on, take social media for what it is. It's a toxic environment. It gives you information, but it masks the information in toxicity. You have to develop your powers of discernment before you get on the treadmill of energy harvesting that they want you on. So my suggestion for you guys with regard to social media is take it for what it is. Take it for what it is and jump off the treadmill. Anybody who is telling you to jump on this bandwagon and these people are bad and that people are bad, listen, jump off the bandwagon immediately, okay? Because your life is going to get squeezed down bit by bit. You know these kinds of political type people who stay behind the computer and everything they see is seen through the lens of is it more to this side or more to that side? We don't care. We do not care. We don't care. Right? I don't care what side anything is on. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. People always ask me questions to gauge, to take my temperature, according to Nikki, to gauge where I am on any particular issue. And they are usually quite horrified when they understand that I don't care. And you want to know what the next thing that they do is? Try to draw me to their way of thinking. And in my mind, I'm like, but it's so much nicer in the don't care. In this little garden of I don't care. Well, I'm not angry about this. I'm not angry about that. I'm not going to take up a placard and I'm not going to demonstrate. I am just so blissfully happy in my don't care. And when you tell them that, what the thing is that you don't care that the world is going to crap. No, I absolutely care that the world is going to crap, and you're the one sending it there. So if we post this show publicly, there are going to be people in the comments saying, yes, but what about this and what about that? And I'm like, I don't care. It's really nice not caring, right?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely, David. So you see, there is no shortage of negativity out there. Now, if something doesn't affect you directly, or let's look at it from the other side, if there is nothing you can do to change or improve the situation, then it is foolish to get engaged in the negativity. Right? You can't improve it or change it, or it doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. Then why would you? It's like carrying a burden every day, all day, every day that doesn't belong to you. If you're carrying your own burdens and you know getting your burden from point A to point B is going to result in something positive, beneficial for you, more power to you. But if you're just carrying rocks that aren't special, that don't do anything for you, that damage your muscles and skeletal system, why do it? This is the same thing, but just on the mind. You're burdening your mind, taking away useful capacity that can be used to generate something beneficial for you. You're giving away your spiritual power by being involved in these quarrels, giving consent to whatever these idiots are going to do down the line. Why do such a thing? So that lack of involvement isn't always not caring. You care what you can change. You care about what you can improve. You care about what affects you directly. But then shed burdens. Don't be carrying stuff that is not yours.
You know, just to make this, drive this point home, sitting next to me in this broadcast, he's not sitting next to me physically, is a descendant of Vikings. Definitively, he has Caucasian in his blood. Okay? He's a descendant of Vikings. As we know who the Vikings were, right? Okay? And sitting next to him is we have the descendant of Orisha worshippers. He's white and black. Okay, I have a few other things mixed in there, and he has a lot of confusing things mixed into. Yeah, a lot of confusing things went into Amir. Like, I don't know how you get these things resolved, but like myself, we're all mixed up, right? I don't care about his genealogy. I don't care about his genealogy. I don't care. Okay, you know, I've never asked Amir what his political opinion is. I never asked him. I never asked him that question because I know I don't have any, so I wouldn't think to ask. Okay, so we have a little bit of a treat for you guys, actually. Amir introduced me to something, and I want to credit the author. I'm going to let the credits run and so on, and we're going to play it for you guys. And we hope you enjoy it as much as we did. And there's a lesson to be learned. When I share my screen, I'm going to show you this little short film. There's a lesson to be learned because a lot of y'all are susceptible to this kind of stuff. As spiritual people, y'all jump on bandwagons, right? And y'all discuss politics and stuff like that. And y'all forget that we're all just trying to get along here in this little fishbowl. So, you guys ready? You ready, Amir?
Yep.
Ah, yes. I love this film.
Hey, Charlie! Hey, Charlie, wake up! Yeah, Charlie, you silly sleepyhead, wake up!
Oh god, you guys. This had better be pretty freaking important. Is the meadow on fire?
No, Charlie, we found a map to Candy Mountain. Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, we're going to Candy Mountain. Come with us, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, it'll be an adventure. We're going on an adventure, Charlie.
Yeah, Candy Mountain, right. I'm just gonna, go back to sleep now.
No, Charlie, you have to come with us to Candy Mountain. Yeah, Charlie, Candy Mountain. It's a land of sweets and joy. And join us.
Please stop bouncing on me.
Candy Mountain, Charlie. Yeah, Candy Mountain.
All right, fine. I'll go with you to Candy Mountain.
La 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 la. La 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 la.
Enough with the singing already.
Our first stop is over there, Charlie.
Oh, God, what is that?
It's a Leopleurodon, Charlie. A magical Leopleurodon. It's gonna guide our way to Candy Mountain.
All right, guys, you do know that there's no actual Candy Mountain, right?
Shun the non-believer. Shun. Shun.
Yeah.
It has spoken. It has told us the way.
It didn't say anything.
It's just over this bridge, Charlie. This magical bridge of hope and wonder.
Is anyone else getting, covered in splinters? Seriously, guys, we shouldn't be on this thing.
Charlie. 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 Charlie.
I'm right here. What do you want?
We're on a bridge, Charlie. We're here!
Well, what do you know? There actually is a Candy Mountain.
Candy Mountain, Candy Mountain, you fill me with sweet, sugary goodness. Go inside the Candy Mountain cave, Charlie. Yeah, Charlie, go inside the cave. Magical wonders are to behold when you enter.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I'm gonna stay out here.
But you have to enter the Candy Mountain Candy Cave, Charlie.
Oh, when you're down and looking for some cheering up, then just head right on up to the Candy Mountain Cave. When you get inside, you'll find yourself a cheery land, such a happy and joy-filled and perky merry land. They've got lollipops and gummy drops and candy things, oh, so many things that will brighten up your day. It's impossible to wear a frown in Candy Town. It's the mecca of love, the Candy Cave. They've got jelly beans and coconuts with little hats, candy rats, chocolate bats. It's a wonderland of sweets. Ride the candy train to town and hear the candy band. Candy bells, it's a treat as they march across the land. Cherry ribbons stream across the sky and to the ground. Turn around, it astounds, it's a dancing candy tree. In the Candy Cave, imagination runs so free. So now, Charlie, please will you go into the cave?
Alright, fine. I'll go into the freaking Candy Cave. This had better be good.
Yeah. Goodbye, Charlie. Yeah, goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye? What? Hey, what's going on here? Hello? Who is that? Oh, what happened? Oh, they took my freaking kidney!
That was awesome. That was awesome. Guys, don't go looking for Candy Mountain. There is no Candy Mountain. No matter what the news media tells you, no matter what social media tells you, you're going to get your kidneys taken out. All right? Right? Don't be Charlie. Don't be Charlie. Okay? That was awesome.
Yeah, so we're not off our rocker here. There's a lot of hidden stuff in that little crazy cartoon. And by the way, you're going to keep on thinking, Charlie. Yes, that's going to stick into your head. So yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah,
and,
I love the part where they said, shun the non-believer.
Shun
the non-believer. Listen, guys, it's funny as hell. Listen, guys, the point of doing this broadcast today has been to make a little bit of difference to your lives, okay? Look, even in the esoteric community, the spiritual community, we have all sorts of crazies and weirdos, okay? We're trying to do something about it at UCM because the vibration that we're trying to bring back is the non-political, non-religious, non-nonsense. Stop the nonsense. Please stop the nonsense, right? And let's get back to some grassroots spirituality where you actually have to do work and not distract yourself with ideas about Candy Mountain.
Candy Mountain. No, Candy Mountain.
Distract yourself about it. Let me ask you something. For the people who are thinking political thoughts right now and how annoying David and Amir was, and the fact that for the next month or so, all you're going to be hearing in your head is, Charlie.
Candy Mountain.
I ask y'all, did y'all meditate today? Did y'all meditate today? Did y'all do your spiritual practice today? Did y'all do these things? Are you assiduously trying to escape the cycle of birth and death? Or are you checking CNN, looking for somebody else to hate, somebody else to have an issue with? Guys?
Horse number 1 or horse number 2? Charlie! Don't be Charlie.
Don't be Charlie. Okay, we want to credit Jason Steele for making that animation. That was awesome. Awesome. Look, I haven't met this man, but wow. All right. It drives the point home. Anyway, guys, we've come to the end of our broadcast today. Amir, you have the last word as usual.
So from the Charlie cartoon, that sea dinosaur goes on mumbling something, and then Charlie says, but he didn't say anything. But horse number 1 and 2 still go along, and see, now that's Charlie's fault that he lost his kidney, because that was his cue to get the hell out, you know? Charlie.
Listen. Hey guys, don't be Charlie. You're gonna get people who come to you and tell you, jump on the bandwagon, Charlie. Right? Don't stop sleeping. Become woke. Jump on the bandwagon.
Candy Mountain.
This thing. Right. Become woke. Follow us to Candy Mountain. Yeah, there is no Candy Mountain. The only Candy Mountain is the one that you make for yourself. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. We'll see you next week. Take care.